Is the iPhone 17 Pro Max too much iPhone? I'm David, and this is D Talking Tech. In this video, we're going to pull back the covers and do away with all the marketing gloss that Apple wants us to hear and actually look at which is the right phone for you to buy, the iPhone 17 or the 17 Pro. We're going to look at what configs you should buy, who these phones are for, and what you'll be missing out on, most importantly, if you decide to buy an iPhone 17, a base iPhone 17, as opposed to one of the Pros or Pro Maxes. Now, first of all, let's start off by looking at what phones you can buy brand new from Apple from their website today as I sit recording this. It starts off with the iPhone 16e, which you can buy for £599. There's the iPhone 16 for £699, that's still on sale. The iPhone 17 for £799. The iPhone Air for £999. The 17 Pro for £1,099. And the 17 Pro Max, which costs £1,199. But in this video, we're really going to be looking at just two phones, and that's the 17, the base iPhone 17, and the 17 Pro, because this year, believe it or not, the specs are closer than ever. And I'm always looking to try and save you money and make smart and wise choices on what you're about to buy. Now, if you've watched any of my videos over the past few months, you'll know that I've been using the iPhone 16e and I've really rated it and I enjoy it. It's been a real joy to use that handset. But it's not for everybody, and neither is the iPhone Air. Now, obviously, none of us have got real-world experience yet of what the Air's like, but both the 16e and the Air are for a very select user group. They're not for everybody. With the iPhone Air, it's pretty as heck. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Mine's turning up in a couple of days' time. I can't wait to get my hands on it and try it out for you. But it could be it's a case of more style over substance. We really don't know until we've had a chance to actually use it. Now, talking about the iPhone that I've got coming, I just want to mention my ordering experience I had last week. On Wednesday, I pre-saved my order with credit card details attached. I placed an order for an iPhone 17 Pro Max with 256 gigs of storage in the Cosmic Orange. I ordered an iPhone Air in blue with 256 gigs and AirPods Pro 3. And out of those three, when I went on Friday to actually finalize the order, the site crashed. By the time I got into the site, the AirPods Pro 3 and the iPhone Pro Max had all gone. So my AirPods Pro at the moment are due to arrive the end of September and the iPhone Pro Max early October. It's not perfect, but there's nothing I can do about it. The only phone I've got turning up this week is the iPhone Air, and I'll be really interested to hear what your order experiences were. So getting back to that question of who are these phones for? It's easy to think that the Pro is for the pros. It makes logical sense, right? Here's me, I kind of make money out of using my phone, so that surely makes me pro. But in my mind, the iPhone Pros this year have almost got too many features that I wouldn't use. That's not to say that I don't think there's a place for one in my lineup, which I'll try to explain later on. But basically, the features that are new this year, I don't think are really relevant to many people. So if we throw away our egos and just look at the actual phone, I think it's a really strong argument to be had that the iPhone 17 will do for most of us and do a really good job for most of us at a fraction of the cost. In the past few years, Apple has been accused of overlooking the base model. But this year, this is the new Apple. This is the listening Apple. This is the bounce back Apple. And they are coming back. I'm convinced they have come back better and stronger from last year's trouncing that they took. And fairly so. They underdelivered last year. But this year, I think they're back on point. And they've given the iPhone 17 some amazing value features and accessories in there that I think just make it a phone that we should honestly look at. Now, you will have noticed that there's no iPhone Plus this year. That's been done away with. The iPhone Plus has been replaced by the Air. But the improvements with the iPhone 17 start with the display. It's a bigger display. It goes from 6.1 inches up to 6.3 inches. It's exactly the same size as the iPhone 17 Pro. It's also now got the adaptive display on it. So it goes from 1 Hz all the way up to 120 Hz. It's a ProMotion display. It's an always-on display, and it's brighter. It's 3000 nits max brightness. And guess what? That's the same as the iPhone Pro. You're beginning to see a pattern here, I think. You get ceramic glass 2 on the front, not on the back, but you get ceramic glass 2 on the front, which they say is up to 3 times more scratch resistant. And you get the aluminum and glass, or aluminium and glass design, but not the unibody and aluminium design that the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max gets. And don't forget, titanium this year is only available on the iPhone Air. The iPhone 17, surprisingly, is fractionally heavier than the iPhone 16. The iPhone 17 weighs 177 grams, and I reckon it's probably because it's got a little bit of a bigger battery inside. That's where the weight's coming from. The iPhone 16 was 7 grams lighter, 170 grams, and the iPhone 16e, a little bit lighter still, 167 grams. Now, I'm going to come back to the cameras later on, but first of all, let's look at two other main differences that you're going to have to think about sacrificing, if that's the right word, if you buy a 17 and not a 17 Pro, and that's the port and the chip. First of all, the port. Now, yes, it is only a USB 2 port on there, which means you're only going to get speeds of 60 megabytes per second. But be honest with yourself. How often do you use the port on your phone at the moment for moving large amounts of data around? The only time I use that port is right now in the studio. I'm recording a throwaway shot there on my 16 Pro Max in ProRes log, and that's going directly to an SSD. So yes, I am using USB 3 speeds there, but that's it. That port never gets used apart from when I'm recording. I charge, not that that would make a difference anyway, but I charge with MagSafe. So that port only ever gets used in my user experience, in my case, because of what I do here on the channel when I'm recording in ProRes log. So I don't think that the port is necessarily a deal breaker. I don't think it's that big of an issue. And if we look at the chip, yes, in theory, on paper, you're getting the A19 chip in there, not the A19 Pro in the iPhone 17. But it's got the same 6-core CPU with 2 performance cores as the Pro chip. Okay, you only get 5 GPU cores, but each GPU core has a neural accelerator that Apple claims improves on-device generative AI and other system-intensive tasks. All A19 chips are built with the latest 3rd nanometer mode, and it's got the new M1 network chip in it as well for faster Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity. There's a much better battery life in there, even though they're still using a Qualcomm modem. I don't know how long it's going to be until we get one of Apple's modems in their more flagship phones. The C1X is what we're using currently in the iPhone Air. But the battery is better, vastly better than the 16. 6 hours up if you go by the specs that Apple give us. Now, I know that video playback is a spurious way that they measure battery performance, but at least it's consistent. So on the playback time they're giving us, with the iPhone 17, you're now getting 30 hours of playback, which is 6 hours up on the 16. That's huge. And so I think that's where that extra weight must be coming from. But also, don't forget, it's worth noting that these phones will be running iOS 26. And in there, you've got that brand new feature, the adaptive power battery management mode, which should make power efficiency even better because it's going to begin to learn how you use your phone and your battery and manage things better for you. And I think the thermals are better too. So I can't see that battery life is going to be a big issue on the iPhone 17. It's quicker charging too. It'll go from 0 to 50% in just 20 minutes if you're using a charger that's at least 40 watts charging speeds. And it's MagSafe and Qi 2 compatible as well. Storage starts at 256. You've only got one other option, which is 512 gigs. That's where it's slightly different from the Pro. With the Pro, you can order in 256, 512, or 1 terabyte. And on the Pro Max, you can go up to 2 terabytes if you want to spend £2,000 on a phone. That's your choice. I wouldn't do that. Use external SSD. The same rules apply to the phone as they do to the Mac. If you're enjoying my weekly videos where I just sit down and calmly talk to you about everything that we do here on the channel, and you haven't yet subscribed, honestly, it's not just words on a sheet. It really does matter. It just helps the channel grow. And I'd love to see some really good growth during this iPhone season. So if you're enjoying my videos, subscribing and turning on notifications really does help. Don't forget, you can also get involved with the channel. There's a weekly newsletter. I send out a video newsletter completely free of charge every weekend. All you need to do is leave me your details on my website, and there's a link to those details in the description. And also, why don't you join our Discord server as well? It's growing. It's young, but it is growing, and it's all like-minded Apple people. Just get together, hang out, and chat. I dip in as often as I can. But if you fancy being part of that community, again, there are details in the description where you can become part of our Discord server too. And also, you might be able to see a print behind me on the wall there. I have got some prints for sale. I will be having prints for sale. So in the run-up to Christmas, if you're looking for something of a unique gift for somebody and you fancy getting in touch with me and finding out what prints I've got for sale, I'm going to be doing that in the lead up to Christmas. Carrying on now with the specs of the phone, the cameras. Let's begin talking cameras. And a lot was made out of this new square sensor on the front-facing selfie camera. Now, I know they're not first. I was told recently that Motorola had a phone out called the One Action in 2019 that had a square sensor. But now that Apple has done it, you can be rest assured that it's going to be Appleified. It will have the Apple effect. And mark my words, I'll be so surprised if next year that Samsung and Google don't both bring square sensors to the front-facing camera. I'm sure you know by now the benefit of it. It means that you don't have to bother rotating your phone into landscape or portrait orientation. It will work it out for you and it will get the best framing for you. You're also going to get the center stage with the 18 megapixel front-facing camera. It's exactly the same camera that you're going to get on the iPhone Pros. You're going to get center stage, and also you're going to get that dual record or dual capture, which means that you can be looking at something in real time, watching the video will see your reaction. Again, I know it's not first, don't come at me, but at least Apple are playing catch up and giving us everything that we should have on an iPhone. The only difference I could see on the front-facing camera, at least, between the 17 and the 17 Pro is that you can't record in 4K ProRes. Not that I ever have. Okay, with an 18 megapixel camera, you might be more tempted to now, but that was the only difference I could see between the front-facing camera. Obviously, one of the big changes comes when you flip things around on the back. You've only got two cameras on the iPhone 17. You're going to do away with the telephoto, so there'll be no 4X or 8X telephoto lens. But again, it's a case of being honest with yourself. I can tell you, as a photographer, when I'm out, I very rarely use the 0.5, and I can't think of the last time I used a telephoto lens. I always shoot on the main lens. I've got so many options of how to shoot on the main lens. That covers me for virtually all of my needs. So be honest with yourself. If that really is going to be a deal breaker, not having those zoom lenses on your camera, you still get 0.5, 1X and 2X on the 17, and they're 48 megapixel cameras, just like on the Pro. The only other difference I spotted was that you don't get second-gen image stabilization and you can't shoot ProRAW. On the video side of things, there are some other changes that's worth me bringing up and noting to you. With video, you're limited at 4K 60 on the iPhone 17, not 4K 120, and you can't shoot in ProRes. But then again, I only ever shoot in ProRes when I'm here in the studio. When I'm out and about, I never use ProRes. I always use the inbuilt camera app when I'm taking videos. And as much as there are some new features on the Pro and Pro Max this year, gun lock, Apple Log 2, I probably won't use them. And don't forget, I'm supposed to be kind of professional in what I do. So it's worth summing up now. What are you actually missing out on if you decide to buy an iPhone 17 as opposed to an iPhone 17 Pro? You don't get 4X or 8X telephoto. You don't get ProRes or ProRAW. You're limited to 4K 60. You've got the USB 2 port, not the USB 3 port. Ceramic Shield 2 is only on the front-facing glass, not on the back. There's no vapor chamber, and it's a smaller battery, but it is a bigger battery, reportedly 3,692 milliamp hours, and vastly improved on last year's iPhone 16, as I mentioned earlier on. I haven't really mentioned the Pro Max in this video for a very good reason. Apple didn't really mention the Pro Max in the event. It was weird. It got to the end of the event, which I thought was great because it was shorter and tighter, but it got to the end of the event and it was just a throwaway at the end about the Pro Max being available. I think the only two differences between the Pro and the Pro Max, as far as I can tell, are that 2 terabyte storage option and, of course, the larger display. And yes, I think a Pro Max will still have a place in my workflow because I'm using it for the time being as a second camera. I want to buy myself another camera, but until then, I'm using the iPhone 17 Pro Max soon, the 16 Pro Max at the moment, as my throwaway camera. So for me, it probably has still got a place in my workflow. If you're wondering, yes, I do spend money on AppleCare on my main device, but I'm actually thinking of getting AppleCare Plus because I'm often out now with 1, 2, or 3 phones, and it's as much to do with theft as it is to do with damage to the phone. It's so easy in town centres now with theft. So I might consider looking at AppleCare Plus because that actually looked decent value for money. So then, what phone would I recommend you should buy? Hand on heart, I think for a very large majority of us, and if I wasn't sitting here doing this every week, it would apply to me too, I think I'd go for the iPhone 17. It is the sweet spot. And don't forget, it's £400 cheaper. Base config, £400 cheaper compared to the iPhone 17 Pro. And that's a huge amount of money. The specs that I'd go for, we've only got 2 choices to make, 256 or 512. I can tell you that my 16 Pro Max I've been using all this year is 256, and it's only half full. So the new Pro Max I've just ordered is in 256. The iPhone Air is in 256. But that's your choice. I'm very careful with how I manage what's on my phone. I've got a lot of other cloud options that I've used. I've got my NAS server. So for me, I only need 256. But that really is the only choice you need to make. But I think you need to think carefully about storage because there are cheaper external SSD and storage options that you could choose as well, rather than giving Apple your hard-earned money. And again, it's like I've said with Macs. This USP of the iPhone 17 is the value it brings. And at the starting price, with 256 gigs of storage, it is a bargain that Apple are giving us. Now, if you've enjoyed me talking about the iPhone 17 versus 17 Pro, I'm leaving my video for you to watch now about my reaction to the event last week, which I did virtually straight on the back of it, but giving you my honest thoughts about what we saw from the entire event.